Hello, there's Uncle Jim. I need to do a couple final tweaks for the Contender stock so it's all good in this world. And so in the previous video, you notice I did 2 extra action screws when I gun coated them. And that's a good thing because I had the short original ones, but now we added a plate, and it turns out that the longer ones are going to be better. I might have to just trim them a hair on the sander. I had a couple things I wanted to tweak. One was the barrel was kind of sticking up out of the stock, and I'll show you that. So we're going to even that out. And I just put a O-ring right here over the lug that goes on the barrel to make up the difference, and that turned out perfect. So what I'm going to be doing is bedding it to the stock. Probably won't show you that, but I'm just going to bed it to the stock, and then everything will be nice and level and good. The other issue I had was this front dovetail lug was loose. Okay, and see, they're just like a front sight, and the reason for that is you can move them right or left to center them in whatever stock you have. And my issue is I use this receiver for different barrels using the same stock, and each barrel is a few thou different than the other and might not line up, but the good news is I put the 357 maximum barrel on, and it was tits on as far as straight in the channel of the front stock. However, this was loose, so I had to peen the dovetail like I've done in previous videos, how to peen a loose dovetail on a side or whatever, and that works great now. There's a little debris in there, disregard that. So I put this little O-ring on, and that made up the difference. So now the barrel is level, and I'll show you before and after, and then I'm just going to bed right here to make up the difference. So when it's tightened down, everything is good to go. These lugs that stick out fit inside my inner lugs and bottom out on the hardened steel lugs, if that makes sense for bedding. So everything's free floating. All right. There's always some tweaking due when you're, when you're messing around or doing any gunsmithing. But this is going to be an easy one, and we'll go from there. Okay, you'll notice right here the barrel is sticking upward out of the stock a little bit, so it's not level. See that? So we're going to fix that today. Okay, and now you'll notice the barrel is level in the stock, and the easy shim fix before bedding it to the wood is an O-ring in the back lug, and I'll show you that. All right, that looks much better, don't you think? Yes. All right, so I was all ready to go, easy schmeezy, put some releasing agent on there against the barrel and do a quick little bedding on this back half, and then I can pull off this O-ring later, and that shims and squares everything up. Well, my releasing agent is old, and it dried into a chunk. And I tried to revive it with alcohol because it's alcohol based, and that was a no-go. And what this stuff is, it's a blue film. You put 2 coats on against your barrel whenever you're bedding. And it's a blue film on to protect your metal and make everything so it doesn't stick when you pull off your bedding, right? Well, that's done. It's toast, and I don't have any more. So I'm going to have to use like some Pam spray or grease or anything so it doesn't stick. And I'm thinking, since it's not important, I'm just going to use a quicker epoxy, or like a 5-minute, or even steel stick putty. It's just a putty you mix together, and that doesn't really stick to anything metal, you know, as far as if you got a little oil on it. So I'll have to decide what to use there, because if I use some really good epoxy, it's going to stick to the metal. So it's not necessary. My stock is already bedded how it was before, but now that we tweaked, all I have to do is put a little bit on this back end so that barrel is level with the O-ring in it, and then pull the O-ring off, if that makes sense. All right, so we're going to go for a quickie, and I'll just grease this down or do something. All right, and I'm not going to use too much, just enough to shim this right here and here. Keep it away from the screw holes, and that's going to be good. And then it's all good. Okay, I've come down to two choices. 5-minute epoxy, you got to work really fast, but it's a little thin and runny. You can add black color into it to make it look black or whatever color you want. And we're not going to squeeze it out of the stock anyway. We're just doing a little dab to make up the difference, and then where the O-ring is, and then I can pull that O-ring off and we're all good. But I really like this steel stick. It's a putty. The hardener's on the inside like a donut, and you just cut a piece with a razor blade, knead it together, and you got to work pretty fast. And it's thick, so it doesn't you know, go everywhere. And you just squeeze those screws down on it, and it'll stop right there on the O-ring. And I think I'm going to go with this. I love this stuff. It's very handy for a lot of things, and it's not as runny as this, and it gives you a hair more time than this, but it will set up and harden really fast. It'll be like a hard plastic, and I guess they got steel in it, tow powder, whatever. So we're going to go with that. So if you guys are ever thinking about just, you know, messing around with stuff, the steel stick is really nice to have also. All right. I've even used this in seating stems where the bullet doesn't fit right. You need this special one. You put it in there, let it set up a minute, and then seat a bullet in your seater, and then you have, and I've done a video on that, then you have the perfect bullet profile. Like say you got a Lee seater or something, or an extra one, and that works really good if you do it right and do it in time. And here's what I'm talking about on the seating stem. If you don't have a carbide bit that's the right size, or you can't, and you gotta deal with a special tipped bullet, okay, you can use a steel stick, and right before it gets hardened, you seat a bullet in a shell against it, okay, and it'll form, and then you just trim this off while it's soft, and you have a beautiful seating stem that fits to a bullet that's a kind of a different, a bad girl that doesn't fit anything else. You can always do that if you got extra stems, and that's what I did there, and it works awesome. Let's do a close-up, and it gives you a perfect bullet profile for your seating stem. So there's that. Okay, this is what JB steel stick looks like. It's kind of like a donut. You got your hardener in the middle, then you just cut off what you need, and you knead it together, and you got to work fast, get it all the same color. It'll turn into a really dark gray. And what I like about it is it's thick, but yet once it's hardened, it's just really, it works really well, and it's going to be perfect for this. And if you want to do a quickie bed on your rifle or something, you can roll up 2 little things of it, put it on each side, and then smash her down. And when it hardens, it's very durable and very hard, and it works for a quickie bedding. And then you can always bed the rest later, but you got your reference, your 2, you know, just roll it up like a worm, and you got your 2 reference lines, squeeze it down, and then you don't have anything running all over the place and getting on your stock. and then you can bed it later because you already have your 2 solid reference points. And then you can use the running stuff, but in this case I won't need to. I'm almost out of it, but make sure once you open it and use it to put it in a baggie and then put it back in the container so it doesn't dry up on you. Okay, so since I don't have a releasing agent, I'm using tractor grease, which I use on the tractor, and it works really good for rails on your gun if you do it really lightly and stuff. You can mix it with oil and all that, but I'm just going to grease this down so nothing sticks. And since we're using the putty, it's not really going to go anywhere. All right, so we just do that, and no stickage. All right, so I didn't show the bedding part because you only get 5 minutes with the steel stick putty, and you got to go fast. You want to have some acetone in a little container to wipe off your fingers and then throw it together real quick. As a matter of fact, to get the screws started, I use one of these. So it's boom, bang, pow. And that's what I like about it, instant gratification. It's super hard, and it says after 60 minutes, it's ready to work with, whatever you're doing. So this has been about 20 minutes. And I can pull the stock off right now. I mean, I have a scrap piece, and that thing hardened within 10 minutes. It was really hard. So we got the barrel level to the stock, and I checked it with calipers here and here, but that could be the wood and the steel plate, but it was within a couple thou, so it's level now. And then here's a piece of paper folded 4 times. And we got plenty of free float, okay? No, nothing, so nice, that's good. And what else? Now, okay, so when I did this, I didn't wrap the bedding around the barrel, just did the bottom. And the reason is, I have 3 other barrels that this needs to sit into, so I just wanted the bottom bedded and just a slight wrap at the bottom so they can all fit in there. And the center to center is good, and then I'll have to check with the other barrel center to center with this front stock, and we have those little dovetails where I can adjust it. Sometimes you get one that's cantywampus and it kind of is like going this way or that way in the stock because of the dovetails. So I'll pull this one off, clean the grease off, and then put the 357 barrel in and make sure it's straight with the channel and level here, which it should be. They're all the same that way. And I just want to make sure you don't see something crooked in the channel, you know, which I gave ample room on each side. All right, let's try the 357 barrel. Okay, the barrel came right off, no stickage, just wipe the grease down. Rub it all over the barrel. It's good for it. Yes. So no stickage whatsoever. Easy peasy. Okay, let's try the 357 maximum barrel. This dovetails a little bit that way, but when I pre-tested it, it was okay. So we'll put this guy on. For you guys that don't know, the Contenders have a pin here for the action. YouTube. For a pivot pin. Okay, we'll get that in there. Okay, that just pushes in there. All right. Oh yeah. All right, let's see how this fits. Okay, we have the 357 maximum barrel. Everything's level with the stock. Check the free float. No problem. And it's centered. So that's good. Didn't have to screw with that one. Now, let's try the 22. I know that one's going to give me problems. But let's see if that works. Okay, now for the 22 barrel, it was a it's the fattest one by a thou or so. Dovetails are pretty much centered. And we'll see. I know something's going to give me a hard time because everything went too easy, okay? Make sure that pin's square. Okay. Put this on. See what happens. Okay, so it looks like we're having a good day. If you're having a bad day, just walk away and do it another day. So, the 22 barrel is on. Now, this is an aftermarket barrel. So they got their own little dovetails here. And what I noticed was it was more persnickety getting the screws lined up. The other ones just drop right in. This one you kind of have to move the stock around a little bit and play with it. But it fits. And it's level. And we got a free floater here. And no problem. So I am damn happy. I don't know why it's so persnickety fore and aft, but we can just take a punch and just kind of hit one of those lugs closer or further away. But it only took a little tiny fumbling, so I'm happy. And that's probably because it's aftermarket. It's a good shooting 22 barrel. Anyway, I guess that's it. I hope you found this interesting. This thing's ready to shoot right now, but I'm going to wait a little bit, and it's probably fully cured by now. But each barrel fits, and they're center to the stock, which never happened. I always had this one or the other one that was slightly cued one way or the other. Maybe it was the 44, which I tapped over and tightened. I don't know. But now everything is the same. So I'm pretty happy. So I hope you found this interesting. And can you feel me, Tin Man? Can you feel me? Oh, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Fun project. And I'm so happy I got this sorted out. And this shouldn't rip off this time. It should be built like a tank. Until next time, thanks for watching.